First meeting of the Board of Lake County Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use our directives for the common good and for thy honor and glory. Amen. Amen. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino.
Here.
Commissioner Young. Here. Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Okay, we have before us the meeting minutes for the regular meetings of July 30, 2020 and August 6, 2020. Do we have a motion to approve same with and waiving reading thereof?
So moved.
Second. Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Okay, this brings us to our first public comment portion of the meeting. I don't see anyone in the audience. Jason, do we have any online requests? Thank you, sir. Indicating none. Okay, Madam Clerk, moving on to our resolutions.
In the engineer's office, resolution authorizing change order number 1, resurfacing county roads with asphalt concrete project with Roniak Paving Incorporated, decreasing the amount by $115,009.63. LCE project number 2019-019.
Second. Discussion. We have our county engineer with us, Jim.
Okay, number 1 and number 2 are both basically the part of this year's paving program. These are the final change orders to balance it. You can see in the first one we're $115,000 less than the bid, and on the second one we're a little over $120,000 less than the bid. The next step in this process for these two projects will be the finalization, which will release the retainer.
So the reason for the coming in so low, just scope or cost or product, what?
Well, basically, these bids are unit price. We only pay for what they put down. So they didn't put, we didn't use everything. We always have a little bit of extra on all these quantities, just in case we mismeasured or something comes up. So that's the reason for it.
So there's some portion of the contract not performed then. Okay, very good. Thank you. Further discussion?
No, sir.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing change order number 1, resurfacing county roads in Madison Township project with Roniak Paving Incorporated, decreasing the amount by $120,672.60. LCE project number 2019-020.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And discussion. Jim, same thing applied.
Yeah, same thing as before.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Further discussion?
Nope.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of a professional services agreement between the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Engineer and Michael Baker International in an amount not to exceed $70,730 for the Madison Avenue retaining wall project repair. For the Madison Avenue retaining wall repair project, LCE project number 2020-004.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Jim, I know under discussion you're going to want to talk about this one.
Yeah. Well, this is the contract with Baker to provide us with the repair for the Madison Avenue wall. They have been working on that project. Actually, we have the preliminary drawings in our office for review, and we have looked over them. That project is moving well along. We're trying to get it submitted for review, for their first level of review for ODOT next week, along with the paving plans for Madison Avenue. This is part of that large project. We're trying to get this thing bid this fall so that this retaining wall repair can be done during the winter and the paving can happen during the spring.
So this $70,000 represents a complete repair. Is there some portions that are still
That represents the design for the complete repair.
design?
Yeah,
Got
this
it.
This is our engineer specialist.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that that was part of the record. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Further discussion?
Nope.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Utilities Department resolution certifying the Lake County Department of Utilities unpaid sewer service, water, and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations and transferring cash within Lake County Department of Utilities Water Operating Fund and Project Fund 595, River Road Tank Painting Project 437W.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion. Randy, did you want to comment on that one?
Sure, yeah, this is, again, a part of our capital improvement plan. We're going to be painting our tank this is River Road that's right on the border of Madison Township and Perry Township. You can see it from the freeway. It's on the north side of the freeway.
There you go. Any other discussion? Thank you, Randy. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution establishing accounts within Lake County Department of Utilities Water Project Funds 595 to be known as Waverly Waterline Improvement Project 443W.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $107,910 for Cell C4 Phase 6 Expansion Part C North Force Main Reconstruction Project number 421L and advertising for bids for the same. Bid opening September 16, 2020.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion. Randy, did you want to comment on that one?
Sure, we've already had several construction projects out for bid for our landfill expansion. This is just another one of those. We are moving things out of the way so we can build our new cell.
Very good.
And I do have just a
Sir.
question if I could. So this is the expanded part, not part of the remediation issue that we've been dealing with the odors, but will the new construction actually incorporate the changes and the improvements that you're making to the old site, part of the site, to prevent water from filling up?
Well, yeah, we're expanding our the pumps in order to drain the water that's in the bottom of the cells, and we actually have we'll be bringing forth proposing a resolution in the next week or two for some expanded gas collection also.
Okay, great. Well, you guys have done a great job. The people in Painesville Township are very pleased with the improvement.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Very good. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution awarding a bid contract in the amount of $744,000 to Dial Electric Ltd. for Aquarius Raw Water Generator and Electrical Equipment Replacement Project 398W.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion. Randy, did you want to share some detail on that?
Sure, this is part of our capital improvement plan. It's at our Aquarius water treatment plant at the raw water station that pumps water from Lake Erie up to our plant in order to be treated. And this is going to be a generator that's going to make sure that we've always got power there and can continue to supply water to Lake County.
The other point, I'm just going over our notes on this, 26% under the engineer's estimate.
Yes.
Very good. Further discussion?
Nope.
None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
If I, Mr.
Oh,
President.
please, sir.
If I could regress for just for a minute, I guess I'm rather famous for, but 26% under the estimate, is that, how far outside the norm is that, just out of curiosity?
Right now, we've been getting bids about there. We actually had a bid 2 or 3 weeks ago that was 40% under the estimate. It's a pretty competitive climate right now. There's not a whole lot of work. We're putting a lot of work out. So yeah, sometimes it depends what time of the year you're bidding it. Sometimes it depends on just how much work is out there. These engineers' estimates are developed oftentimes very early in the project, and so usually they come in a little bit under. We're hoping for somewhat under that budgeted price, but 26% is not terribly unusual. It's a pretty good bid, and we're pretty happy with it.
Just a quick follow-up. Does the pandemic have anything to do with bringing some of those prices down, or as far as bidding is concerned? Or?
Whether it's that or just the lack of work because of that, yeah, something right now it just seems like a pretty good opportunity to get some projects out and get really good prices on it.
There has been a huge postponement of construction projects just in general. That is probably the biggest contributor to that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Even with us, we slowed down some of our projects to make sure that we had the revenue that was coming in before we bid them out, and so right along with everyone else, I think I agree with that there's a little bit less work out there, so the prices get a little bit better.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And as long as we're continuing the discussion, and it's a matter of public interest, all quality, all inspections, everything's going to be gone over. There's no corners going to be cut. This is exactly what we need it to be.
Always, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $897,846.63.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $468,024.26.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various non-general fund accounts.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Okay, this brings us to our departmental reports portion of our meeting. Randy, utilities.
Thank you, Commissioner. August, September, and October is typically the time of year where harmful algal blooms can appear on Lake Erie, also known as HABs. They've been in the news, in the past. Lately, they haven't been too much of a problem, but it's definitely something that we're keeping our eye on at our water treatment plants to make sure that if one appears, that we do have the means to handle them. As long as we know ahead of time and can detect them ahead of time, we can treat them through a water treatment plant and make sure that the water that's delivered to Lake County is still safe. Occasionally, we will have some taste and odor issues with that if it's significant, but anything that's delivered is going to be safe water. We have a network throughout the Lake Erie water suppliers and typically these move from west to east, so we have usually several weeks of notification that the bloom is moving eastward. Right now it's still there is a small bloom that's still on the west side of the island, so quite far away, and we always cross our fingers, but we are prepared if it were to encroach on our water intakes.
And how did things go at the fairgrounds?
Oh, I'm sorry, they went very well. We
Never apologize for good news.
We made some significant improvements, changes to our drop off there for electronics. We opened an hour early. We also had about 30 extra staff there for the morning hours when it's usually a rush. We also added we call it an express lane for people who only had smaller items, say a laptop, any non-monitors, laptops or cell phones and that sort of thing. They could kind of get out of line early, and we just had a separate drop off for those, and we had a couple extra lanes of traffic. So we had The average wait, or the longest wait on Saturday was about 18 minutes, was the longest wait we had, compared to our very first time we did it was over an hour. So, yeah, our staff did a great job. They prepared and were ready to go, and it was a very successful collection. We don't have the tonnages yet. It looks like the amount of vehicles was about typical, just under 1,000 vehicles that they handled between 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Well, two things I want to compliment you on. Thank you for getting some signage out there regarding the census and how important that is. That was much appreciated. It was an opportunity to reach out to the greater community. And some of the correspondence, usually we get some emails on these things, and I want to talk about a very happy email, a young lady who was rather inspired to also be a part of the volunteer team. I believe her moment that she decided, hey, this is something I want to help with, she referred to one of your crew, working his tail off, sweating profusely, and still could find it within him to be kind, smile, be courteous, and continue to keep working. So those are the kind of reports that I believe this board just loves to hear. So
Great.
Kudos to your crew, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anything else for utilities? Very good. Thank you again, Randy. Moving on to County Administrator Jason Boyd.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's number one, great to see the band back together at full strength. So welcome back, Commissioner Young. It's great to have you in person once again. Just a quick update. Obviously, we were talking about construction or the lack thereof and delaying and examining revenues. We've done the same internally with our capital projects here that the commissioners control, predominantly with our bricks and mortars facilities. So kind of our capital team, we meet quarterly, which consists of Finance Director Matus, Paul Stefanko, Mark Eiffelis met last week to review kind of what's essential that we need to continue on, what we can put on the back burner, and then what we're going to review into quarter 3 and quarter 4 of this year. So just to give you a sense of idea of what we're moving forward with, I briefed Commissioner Hammercheck yesterday. The emergency backup power at both courthouses is probably, concrete was poured this week for the pads. Generator 1 at probate will be installed later this month. Generator 2 at the main courthouse will be installed probably in the next 30 to 45 days, providing backup power to both facilities 24/7, 365, something that we've been working on for a number of years. Once again, want to thank Clerk of Courts Kelly for assisting us in that endeavor. So we're moving forward with that. A couple security enhancements at both the probate court, the main entrance, we're getting some enhancements there, and the parking facilities for our common pleas judges, domestic court judges. We're proceeding with a secure parking project there. Similarly, the items that we cannot mess around with are improvements in the jail, so we continue to work with the sheriff and his team and Paul and Mark. So we're continuing to do the essential projects and putting some projects on the back burner until we look at revenues at the third part of the year. And finally, briefly, the countywide coastal SID is full steam ahead. Kind of spearheaded by Mayor Morley and his colleagues on the west end. We've got at least one parcel from each coastal community, which we need to participate in what we think will be one of the first countywide SIDs in the state of Ohio. Amanda Gordon, our bond counsel, is been helping the coastal communities to the point where they have legislation in their hands, and Auditor Galloway has been very gracious with his time and allowing us to do assessments a little later than normal. And as you recall, the county's role will be providing potentially some backstop out of the coastal bed tax to assist in securing the lending institution some security moving forward. So it's been a long road, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which will benefit a lot of private landowners along the lakefront with these high water levels. So thank you.
While you're there, just to echo what you said, our mayors and city managers with Mayor Morley, they really have taken up the call to help us help you with this SID project. I have to say, I'm very pleased with how seriously they've taken this, and I want to thank you and Amanda Gordon and Mike Matus for working so hard behind the scenes here to get all the boxes checked off, so to speak. But good. Yeah, good, well done. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and just to that point, the model has trickled into our neighbors to the west. The city of Euclid has expressed some interest in our framework, and I was just notified last week by the Port Authority Director and a Commissioner in Ashtabula of their interest to do a countywide SID in Ashtabula based on the momentum that we've got going here. So Peter Zahersky and I, along with Amanda, are going to participate in a meeting the first week of September with the Ashtabula leadership to show them how we got where we are. So.
And since we may not know who's watching, do we want to say what a SID is? So we
A
don't...
SID is a special improvement district, essentially that private landowners will have their coastal protection measures, breakwaters, armor stone, what have you, assessed on their tax duplicate for up to 15 to 20 years, depending on what the market will bear. And then they will pay that. There's no public assistance per se besides the framework. It's still privately financed by them, but this is a legislatively approved tool that we're trying to take advantage of.
And the communities have to contiguously agree to set this up.
The method that Council Gordon has advised is kind of the easiest. It requires at least one parcel to enroll. They don't have to construct the improvement right now, but they have to enroll. So we have multiple parcels on the west end, a couple here and there in the townships, but we've kind of met that test. They can be publicly held. I think North Perry Village, they have some publicly held properties that have severe erosion. Those are also eligible. And then this can continue, for as long as need be.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Just one quick question. When we worked on this in Columbus, we didn't envision all the various nuances. For instance, a whole county linking together and taking advantage of it. Has ODNR said anything about the shift in the, I forget the terminology, as far as the currents are concerned?
The lake levels?
Yeah, if you protect one area of the shoreline, the currents just move on to the next area and create a problem there. What happens when you protect all of Lake County? Has anyone spoken about this yet? Have you gotten a note or a memo or something from the powers that be at the
prevailing
higher state level?
Not to speak with DNR, but my experience, briefly, the sand moves west to east. So if I'm on the lake and you're my neighbor to the east, and I put a structure in the water that protrudes perpendicular to, I'm going to trap that sand and starve my neighbor to the east. So, ODNR will, they'll review that along with the Corps on what's permittable and what's not. But if you armor the stone at the shore, parallel to the shore, that littoral movement of sand traditionally will continue to migrate from the west to the east. So two prime examples is Headland State Park. There's a big breakwater there that was installed who knows when with the lighthouse on the end that is impeding the movement of sand continually to the east, therefore making the beach at Headlands Beach State Park. So that's kind of a small example that most folks could realize. It's trapping that sand. I can't speak to DNR's policy. They need the sand in the system, but then you have to balance that with private property in their interest of protecting the investment and homeowners and business owners doing what they have to do. So we're providing a tool to hopefully do that in coordination with the applicable permits that DNR and the Corps have. And I'll give DNR some credit that they have a kind of a fast track permit process that they've installed because of the severity of the lake levels and the impact that it's doing on sometimes a daily basis. So
Very good.
So, thank you.
And just to piggyback on that, although the legislature did not contemplate this level of cooperation, Lake County is setting a pretty high mark here. This is
We've been contacted via DNR with folks from the Upper Great Lakes, the state of Maryland, on kind of what we're doing. Large-scale lending institutions. We have institutions locally that we're going to pursue, thanks to Amanda and her team. But yeah, when we get this completed, I think it's going to be a good model to share across the Great Lakes. So,
thank you, sir.
thank you.
And Ashtabula should have some great beaches.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the next commissioners meeting is going to be on Thursday, August 27, 2020. And also at that meeting, we will have the schedule for the rest of the year on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
You live for that line, don't you? Thank you, sir.
Practice it all week.
There you go. There you go. Okay, old business. Do we have any old business to come before this board? New business. Do we have any new business to come before this board? Commissioner
Mr. President, thank you. I have two quick items I'd like to just mention. One is I would like to take the opportunity, I believe on behalf of all the commissioners, I'm sure my colleagues would join me in this, in really laying out a compliment to our Sheriff Lambruno, and all of his staff, and all of the police chiefs throughout Lake County. You know, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the news around the country regarding police and law enforcement in general. And while there certainly always there's a bad apple somewhere in the barrel in many cases, we are blessed in Lake County to have law enforcement, not only all of the people involved, but the leadership, in this case, the sheriff and the police chiefs, and their staffs who just do an outstanding job protecting our community, keeping it safe, even under some very tough circumstances. And I would like to just call them out and thank them for their support. And we want them to know that just like they have our backs in terms of protecting the community, that we have their backs as well, and that we clearly support doing all the things necessary to support them and to foster respect for law enforcement, which is lacking in many parts of the country, unfortunately. The second thing I'd like to just mention is that yesterday we had a press conference here in this chamber. And it was kind of historic. We had beside the three Lake County commissioners, and we were delighted to have Commissioner Young join us for that. We had the three county commissioners from Ottawa County, where the Davis-Besse nuclear plant resides. So we have respectively a nuclear power plant in our two different counties. And while we have worked together in the past to engage in all kinds of efforts, federal and state, to support the maintenance and operation of these plants, excuse me, yesterday was really kind of a historical opportunity for us to get together and make a very, very strong statement to the governor, to the Speaker of the House, Speaker of the House, and to the Senate President that the idea that has been bantered around of in response to the allegations made in Columbus with the scandal, that House Bill 6, which is one of the major components of it, was to keep the two plants running, that a repeal alone, with perhaps some consideration down the road next year for some kind of a replacement, that's not acceptable to the people of Lake and Ottawa counties, nor to the 6 county commissioners. And besides, I think we did make our point very clearly. We also had, and it was very heartwarming for me to see the Lake County officials, all of the county-wide elected officials here, Democrats and Republicans, coming together for a common purpose. And that common purpose was to protect the economy of Lake County, protect the jobs, and also to support an energy policy that we believe makes perfect sense. And it isn't too often that people of opposite parties come together for a common purpose, but yesterday was very heartwarming for me to see our clerk of courts and our county treasurer join us along with the commissioners in Ottawa County to support efforts to not just allow these plants to be closed and to have all of the economic negative results that would come along with that. In my mind, anybody who's in office or seeks to be in office who is for a repeal-only strategy is clearly coming down on the side of supporting massive unemployment in Lake County. And people who believe that need to be called out and because that is antithetical to the economic health of Lake County and to a sound energy policy. So I would like to thank everybody who helped put the press conference together and those who participated, and like to thank the News Herald and many other media outlets for giving us good coverage to help us get our message out to all of the powers that be in Columbus. And again, I thank my fellow commissioners for participating as aggressively as they did. Thank you, Mr. President.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. If I could also echo what you were saying about our public safety forces, particularly law enforcement, that As I'm sure you're well aware, that's a subject near and dear to me from my early days of being just a new employee with the county back in, my God, 1987, I think. The things this board provides, a countywide radio system. We're committed to that. One of the things our administrator was talking about is where are we going to be looking at continuing maintenance and improvements, and that is one thing which is not being compromised. We've got a telecommunications department that is top-notch in the state of Ohio. Our EMA, the way that they stepped up as far as PPEs and all the support that they gave to our public safety forces, are working with the prosecutor's office and the crime lab. I think that's something that the public should know about. And the new program that we partnered with Auburn Career Center, the telecommunicators training program, having top-notch dispatchers, because calling a dispatcher today is it just doesn't get it done. There's so much more responsibilities now, and those are just a few. So yes, I think that our commitment is unequaled. Commissioner Young, anything you want to, because I know the training has always been something near to you.
I'll just throw this into the mix. We're here in Lake County, obviously. This is where we live. This is where we breathe. This is what we love, Lake County. But in reference to House Bill 6, it's important to remember that this is a statewide issue. Consumer rates all over the state will be reduced when, if House Bill 6 actually goes into operation next year in the current form, whether it's newly written or whether somehow the old bill survives through the rest of this calendar year. Ohio will maintain its position as a net exporter of power, whereas if those two plants go away, we will be a net importer of power. So, and that's a lose for Ohio as well if we're relegated to that position. So this is an important statewide issue. And so even though we're here in Lake County and focused on the interest of Lake County, I think when this issue is brought up, it's important that we remind people that this is a statewide issue. We're going to need a lot of support in Columbus. Some of those people are in Cincinnati. Some are in Marietta. Some are nowhere near a nuke plant. Some are terrified of nuclear power. They all love zero emissions, at least most of them do. They all love lower consumer rates, at least most of them do. So I think that's an important part of the equation. So just a quick reminder, not what Commissioner Serino brought up was incomplete. It was great. But I think for my own benefit, I need to start mentioning those factors as well. Thank you.
Great. Very good. Any other new business? Okay, moving on to our second public comment portion. Jason, anything? Okay, Jason's indicating no additional public comments. This brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes, thank you.